2025 could be the start of a lot of economic uncertainty here in the United States. Are you ready to navigate that as a small business owner? Kevin Ware, your Action Business Coach, helping you achieve your business dreams. And one of the things that we know, especially after this election, is that there's going to be a lot of changes going on, not only in the United States, but in the world starting in 2025. And what I wanted to do is go through how you as a business owner can navigate that economic uncertainty. Now, I'm going to be doing a webinar coming up on Wednesday, December 4th at 12 noon Pacific. We'd love to have you join us. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what I'm going to be talking about, and then I'll go into a lot more detail when I do the webinar. So I wanted to start off and give you a taste of what we're going to dive into. So let's start this out. So the first thing we need to take a look at to be ready for economic uncertainty is have your financial house in order. And we don't really know what's going to be happening. So the very first thing we need to do is have some financial security. Number one, you need to basically watch your cash levels in your business. Fastest way to go out of business is to run out of cash. And if you're not paying attention to your cash, then you might be having a problem. So keep an eye on how well you're converting. Are you getting money in quickly? Are you having to be able to, can you use cash, or do you have to constantly go to the bank and dip into a line of credit, which can be really expensive? Number two, what are your margins in your business? Do you know what your margins are? And are they sufficient for your business, or are you starting to fall behind? Have you had a lot more expenses but haven't risen prices recently to keep up with margin rates in your business? Number three, debt ratios. Let's take a look at making sure that we're not getting out of control on your debt ratio. Too much debt is going to suck up cash. And yeah, it was probably really good, especially during COVID when you had all that government money coming in, but now that's all gone. And if you start creeping more and more into debt, you may be, eventually die of cash starvation. And then budgets. We have to basically make some financial decision making in 2025 to know what we're going to budget for and what we're going to both spend and invest in. You have to have a plan on how you're going to, but not only make money, but spend money. Without those controls, all that extra money you make may be just spent out willy-nilly without a game plan. So we have to have budgets in place. So number two, you need to know what your business core competencies are. In any kind of economic uncertainty, you need to be aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at. Now, there's a lot of businesses that branched out and tried to do different things when things were really good. But you may think about, that expansion or that new division I was going to start or that acquisition I was going to get may not be the right time for that. Now, it may be. Maybe it's a screaming deal and you need to jump on the deal. But you need to really basically said, what are we as a company really good at? What are we skilled at? What are we known for? And what are we not known for? And so we don't want to try to go into an area where you just do not have the core competencies to be successful in that area. Maybe this is the time for you to double down on what you're already good at rather than trying to do things that may seem opportunistic but are really not in your wheelhouse. Now, number three is you need to be much more finicky on who you hire. Here's the thing is we're starting to see the labor market loosen up. Back about, again, in the middle of COVID, when unemployment was nearly at zero, everybody was scrambling for employees. It was basically as if you could fog a mirror up and you at least had a brain, you were hired. Those days are over. So you need to be really much more selective on who you hire. How do we go about doing that? Well, you need to really recruit aggressively. The days of throwing an ad up on Indeed and hoping and wishing for the best are long since gone. You're going to have to find multiple ways to recruit. You're also going to have excellent languaging in your ads. You're going to have to start appealing to people instead of having what I call prisoner of war ads, name, rank, and serial number. Sorry, you need to go out there and convince and recruit people to look at the opportunity that you're providing them. So you have to be a lot better at that overall recruiting game. You need to follow what I call a deselection process, because your whole idea here is you want lots and lots of people recruiting and applying for your job, but you want to sift through and get people to deselect themselves so that you only get the best candidates for you. And then finally, we need to use profiles to find out who is the best fit for the job. Too many times we go off of a gut feel hire. We go, that one feels right, and we hire them, and then they turn out to be complete duds. So one of the key components of good hiring is using psychometric profiles, which can tell us who is the best fit for the job. Now, the next thing is you need to be a trend spotter. Now, one of the things that too many business owners do is too many business owners get into their little bubble. They only know what they know, and they are not looking forward. You as a business owner, especially in navigating economic uncertainty, need to be looking into the future and asking yourself, what are the trends going on in my industry? You need to start doing research. Find articles, find analysis of people who are taking a look at ideas and saying, where is this industry going? If you're in the restaurant, what's the future of the restaurant industry? If you're in manufacturing, what's the future of manufacturing? If you're in education, what's the future of education? Start doing some research. Take a look at what tech you should be investing in. There's a lot of businesses who are probably way behind on investing in technology. So what are those tech investments that you need to take a look at? And then what are your future niches? One of the things we take a look at is there's niches right now that we see that 10 years ago didn't exist. So what are those potential future niches within your industry, and do you want to be a part of that? Now, obviously, if they're not in your core competencies, then you're not going to go after them. But if they are in your core competencies, you probably should be looking at a game plan of that's a niche that we want to be a part of, especially if it starts taking off. And then finally, we want to market to buy customers. One of the things, especially in economic uncertainty times, is that we have to really zero in with our marketing dollars to buy a customer. What do I mean by that? Too many businesses do the old-fashioned name recognition. They throw messages out there. They want to feel good about themselves. They tell people how wonderful they are, and they're not really advertising to get a new customer into the door. Here's a great example very recently of somebody who's completely botched this concept, and that's Jaguar. If you haven't looked out there, Jaguar is in the process of starting a marketing campaign that's, I think the theme of it is be different or something, basically copy no one. And it basically looks like adult Teletubbies, wandering around on a screen doing crazy things. Why? Because Jaguar wants to create a vibe around where they want to go as a company. That's probably not going to work. And it certainly would never work with a small business. If you're out there trying to create the vibe for with your advertising, that's not what good advertising does for small business. It probably doesn't even do it well with big business. I mean, take a look at the whole Bud Light fiasco from last year. That was crazy. That big, huge mistake. And now Jaguar is in the middle of making another huge monster vibe mistake. So when you take a look at your advertising, you need to drill down and know, if it was really good and I can get away with vibe advertising and it's going to be economic uncertainty times, not anymore. We go back to the fundamentals. We advertise in order to buy a customer, and we execute on that. Now, I'm going to go into a lot more depth on Wednesday, December 4th at 12 noon. If you want to go into a lot deeper analysis of how to navigate economic uncertainty as a small business owner, I want you to click down below, register for the webinar. Again, it's on Wednesday, December 4th at 12 noon. I look forward to seeing you there. Bring the questions with you. We're going to get into a really good discussion of how are you going to navigate these uncertain times that are coming up in 2025 and beyond. Look forward to seeing you. If you have any questions for me, any thoughts, comment below. I'll see you on December 4th.